Hello and welcome to this video. I'm honored to welcome Joram Barrez today in the office in Zurich. You did do, together with Micha, a webinar 2 weeks ago.
That's correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the title was AI Agency in Your Hands, which was obviously then about AI agents, Flowable. We kind of covered the basics. We showed a Hello World agent, showed a knowledge-based assistant based using RAG. We showed a live demo with CMN models, showed patterns for orchestration and stuff like that. So the whole kind of introduction into AI agents on Flowable.
A lot of things. I remember you had a lot of questions. It was a
super interesting,
super interesting topic. But for one demo, I recall that the screen looked a little bit like there's some more potential behind the scenes. I think that was around the knowledge base. So let's maybe quickly look at this part of the webinar.
Now, what I have here, normally I would hook this up with, let's say, a SharePoint, with a OneDrive, with any kind of a box, I don't know, kind of tool that has all the content, has all these documents in various kind of, PowerPoints or Word documents, PDFs, I don't know, Excel sheets. And periodically you would go into these and refresh your knowledge base, and that's what you're searching for. Obviously, that's hard to demo. So what I did is I actually used AI to generate, here it is, to generate quickly a PDF. Just I asked, give me some random data for a number of customers with some contact data, and it described use cases, some pain points, opportunity values, plan of actions, and here we go. Just a very simple demo document. Obviously, in reality, this is not the way you should be doing this, because it's going to be hooked in with your real kind of content management system, but I hope you're getting the idea. All right.
Now, since we have seen that, there is not that much on that screen, basically.
You're being nice. The screen was very basic. Now, the kind of concepts behind the scene and the implementation actually did do the right thing. So the agent was executing with RAG functionality, the real deal. But as you said, the design UI was quite basic.
At the beginning, since it's 2 weeks ago, maybe you can show us what was changed since then.
Yeah, brilliant, because I brought my laptop and this is running development mode, so let's see. Nothing in this is final. We're just going to have to say it like this, right? This is really work in progress, right?
So I think that's fine. People are interested in to see what is going on. And it's also a really fast moving moving space as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, so let's look at it.
Yeah, so let's go into design. I'm going to create a new app. I'm going to call this one Knowledge. Really hard word to type, by the way.
Knowledge app, okay.
Then we're going to create a new agent.
Okay, it always starts from an AI agent, since you would like to have the knowledge for the AI agent, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of correct. I mean, that's what the whole RAG thing does, right? It enriches the agents, the AI services with information that it does not have access to by default, with company-specific information. Here we go. So I'm going to create today a knowledge assistant. And let's do the same thing as before. Add some inputs and outputs.
So we have a structured input, structured output means that we define for the AI basically what is supposed to happen.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Here we go.
Customer name is our input, and the output is going to be then sales advice.
Sales advice, yes. So we're going to ask some information about a particular prospect, particular sales customer, and that's information that's not in the AI services, obviously.
Yes.
Right? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to set a bit of a prompt. I'm going to use a simple prompt again, because I don't need the fancy prompt templating.
Okay. So you just have a YOL expression then in there, which resolves variables from your input.
Exactly. So the context is your helpful sales assistant. That's setting the tone. And in that context, what we're going to do is give me advice about my sales prospect, and then passing the customer name, the key.
Okay.
The parameter key from that parameter, right? This was customer name. Right?
Yes.
And let's pass that into the user message. So that's the thing we did before, and let's now create a knowledge base.
So that is basically then the knowledge base, which is used in this agent to get your specific information, which is not public knowledge. So that is only part of the knowledge base.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create that, and this is where the UI is going to be hugely different from what you saw before.
Yes,
right?
indeed.
So what I did before was I was using the static file option, meaning I'm uploading a file.
So you have basically an input source. That means where is your document coming from?
Exactly.
And there you have, as I can see, multiple possibilities. so far, I think most of them are still work in progress and
Correct.
might not be even there at the
Correct.
end.
Yes.
But the content items is
Yes,
the one
exactly.
to show us.
So content items mean you're going to upload documents in various types to work, and that becomes a flowable content item. And from there on, we're going to build a knowledge base, basically. Right?
And you're specifying the path here that you know basically where to search for.
Exactly. So in work, and I'm going to show it to you already, I will have, you can see here, right, in work, in the Documents app, I'm going to have a knowledge base folder.
Okay,
right?
that makes sense.
Yeah. So the next step is I'm going to define a search method. The simplest to explain is that you need to kind of pad information to your prompt. Simplest would be the middle option. Just add a full document, right? This is easy, but it's not the most cost-effective way or necessarily the best way, right, to do this. So what most people use is similarity search. This means that I'm going to pass my content and my prompt through a model, typically, and I'm going to get back something that represents mathematically how similar or how close certain tokens, certain sentences, paragraphs are.
So you basically search the document which matches best to your question and just include that. So with that, you are not only saving costs, you also ensure basically that your input is not too large, since most AI providers only allow certain...
Yes, and the more tokens you use, the more expensive it becomes, obviously.
Yeah, and somewhen you hit the limit, so you would like to ensure that you are not hitting the limit. Now you have an entire pipeline.
Exactly, I was going to say,
Can you explain a little bit what are those steps?
Looking at the various options out there right now, we decided to go for a pipeline concept. That's this was the common denominator between all of these solutions that we saw. And in classic Flowable way, we don't want to tie anybody into one specific solution. So the goal of this pipeline is really that whenever you open something, you always can plug in, if we don't provide any of the kind of out-of-the-box defaults, that you can plug in your own kind of behavior. And that's what you see right at the bottom. This is custom bean. You can always go to custom bean if needed. Right?
So in case I want to have something special, I can customize each of those steps with my custom implementation. Exactly. But there are a couple of defaults actually.
And again, this is all work in progress right now. So this might completely change. I mean, this pipeline might be completely different in the future. Right now, it's still quite technical because we're working on the technical building blocks. First step here is it's going to search for any subfolder in that folder I just showed you, right?
So you basically start with a folder and then you are searching all the documents within that folder you would like to use.
So that's it. We got now a bunch of files.
A bunch of files,
Word documents, PowerPoints, Excel sheets, PDFs, you name it. From that moment, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to convert it. In this case, I'm going to convert it to Markdown. And there is more to it with header mappings where you can make some smart kind of smartness into Markdown. But Markdown works great because for AI services, you maintain structure. Like in a Word document, if you have a table, you convert it to Markdown, you still have the table.
Yes, indeed. So at the beginning, we had basically a folder, then we had a bunch of documents which are potentially text, but not plain text.
Exactly.
And now we have a markdown document, which is something the AI can understand, basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, it can also understand plain text, but the fact you have markdown adds another layer of metadata.
That's why you have converted to plain text as next option. Makes sense, yes.
Okay, next thing is what we need to do is we need to split the content, because as you were just saying, these AI services, they have certain limits. You can't, if you have a big document, you can't upload it in one go. So there's a few options here.
You have a few different chapters. Inside your work document, we have a really long markdown document, and now you're making that markdown document in smaller chunks, since you might not want to include everything.
Exactly. So I'm just going to make a very simple choice here. Token text splitting, done. Easily just this amount of tokens, now stop and do a next one. Right?
Context aware, on the other hand, would go ahead and split it by the headers inside your document. That's also why on the section before you have that mapping. That mapping of the headers, that it really detects the correct markdown headers.
Correct. Next step is quite a bit technicalities around here. So here you got your document, you got your various splitted chunks, as we're calling it here, and now you need to pass that into a model. It's not necessarily a model. There's actually more options.
It's the embedding, basically. Creating a vector which you can later on use to search based on your input for the best matching one.
Exactly. Now, this is embeddings because at the top here I said we're using embeddings, right? If you would choose something else, this would obviously
then
change.
it will automatically adapt the pipeline that
because
in the pipeline.
Embeddings is just one way of doing this, REG.
I mean, when we use all the file basically all the time, then we wouldn't need to search that specific
So
content.
suffice to say, we get a vector, we get an embedding back. And then the next step is we're going to create a knowledge base entry, meaning that in Flowable, you'll be able to manage all the documents that you've embedded, you've put into this vector store, so to say.
Yeah.
And you can see this document relates to X number of subsections or whatever, right?
Okay.
And that's kind of this thing what it does.
So basically for each document, we now create a knowledge base entry inside the Flowable database that when we search for it, it knows that it is there. That makes sense.
And at the end, you want to store it. There's various options here. The one I have on this particular implementation is the Postgres PG vector, which is a quite standard way of storing these embeddings.
I think that's one of the most well-known things.
All right, I think that's it, right?
That's it.
I mean,
have you something else to show? Maybe you
not
can
in design.
show us.
Yeah.
Not in design.
I'm going to show the runtime, how it works for real.
That is nice.
So let me publish it.
I'm looking forward to that.
And let me show you how it works.
Okay, so now you have Postman in here, and you are going to start one request where you call out to your agent with your customer name. But how it's supposed to know what Acme is?
Not.
Okay.
Because I didn't upload any documents now.
That makes sense.
In theory, if everything worked, it should say, I don't know, because Acme to me is not a known thing, right?
Let's see if it is making something up. And otherwise, we are going to continue here. So once you press the run button, what do we see here? I'm sorry, but I don't
have specific information about your sales prospect. Acme, please provide, etc., etc. Right? So that's good, right? Because it shouldn't start to go and hallucinate and generate me something, right? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do work, and I'm going to upload one file.
Okay, so now you are uploading information to the folder which we have specified before, and with that it is actually going ahead and adding that information to our context. So
now you also saw I picked customer data 01.
Yes.
Right?
Okay, so you have multiple data.
So
what do we have inside customer data?
Basically, this one is about Acme. This is no surprise.
Obviously.
This was the document I used in the webinar. This is an AI generated content, so it contains information about.
I think in the webinar you had only one long document.
That's the one I split.
In two chunks. Okay.
So I have information about these two. If I now say here, give me information about Acme.
Yes.
Right.
And you do not even provide the full name of the company?
No. I mean, the AI should be,
There's only one Acme.
Natural language processing should be good enough to figure that out, right?
Okay, so let's press send here. And then we are going to see that our result in this time, and AI takes a little bit as always.
Yep. But basically it says focus on demonstrating how your AI solution can streamline Acme's, etc., etc. So we took that information from the document and appended it. Now you might say, okay, that's nice.
That's nice.
But does it then, are you now tricking it into, let's say MedTech. MedTech is not in there, right?
Can you show us that MedTech is not in there? I mean, I believe you, but maybe I shouldn't.
Here we go.
So customer 2 was...
Yeah. Let me show you.
Yeah.
I mean, let me just do MedTech, right?
Okay.
MedTech. And it should say, I don't know. If this thing
don't know. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to upload now customer data 2. Now, customer data 2 does contain MedTech.
Okay. So in here, the first entry, MedTech Solutions.
Exactly.
And then we have 2 other companies as well, GovTech and so on. And now when you ask it again, it now magically knows what MedTech is.
Not magically.
Not magically, since you uploaded the document.
Exactly.
But that the knowledge base did do its work.
Exactly. So what's happening with what you call magic, what's happening behind the scenes is actually it's going to query using those. It's going to put, let me restart. It's going to use the prompt. It's going to make an embedding out of it. It's going to do a similarity search against the embeddings that we have in the PG Vector store. With the kind of prompt, it's going to get back certain amount of information, certain parts of the document. This is going to be injected into the prompt, and that's why we're getting the answer.
Yeah.
That's pretty much magic.
That makes sense. I will take it as magic.
Yeah.
Now, assuming that you have thousands of documents uploaded.
Yeah.
I mean, does it still work?
It does.
I mean, you have now 5-6 companies.
Of course.
I could use a
simple
like query and
of course.
Just provide the code.
Yes and no. I mean, a simple like query would work to a degree, but the difference is that a prompt and the actual searching with that prompt goes through the embeddings again. Mm-hmm. So it is actually made, the similarity is kind of expressed mathematically.
Yeah.
There's also kind of techniques, we're also looking into that, of implementing and adding them to the product, is query rewriting.
Okay.
So there's actually a step you can do is saying, okay, go from my prompt
Mhm.
and actually rewrite it so it's better suited for
Okay.
querying the RAG store, right? And
Ah.
then you go from maybe a long prompt to a smaller prompt, or you go to a larger. I mean, there's
Okay.
all kind of techniques here to make this result better. But suffice to say, to answer your question, if you got thousands of documents,
Yeah.
it would still work. And you would get back behind the scenes,
Yeah.
internally, we get back a relevance score, like how
Yeah.
good is this document matching to what the client is basically asking. And we then rank that and get back that and add it to the prompt. That's how it works.
Okay. Now, considering that you use a lot of documents, how can you figure out at the end which document
Yeah.
it actually used?
That's a good question, because that's exactly the kind of things you would expect from enterprise AI orchestration, right? So we're building this into the AI agent engine, like the process and case and all the other engines we have. We have actually an agent engine that does the agent orchestrations, right? And when you do RAG, it actually stores which documents were used to add to the prompts going behind the scenes. I can't show you because there's no UI for that yet, but you can, that in the backend, we're storing all the information that
Mhm.
this particular agent instance, this particular agent prompt question has been doing an RAG search, and these documents were used for that particular thing. So you can always go back later on and say, hey, what was it that I used for this particular answer? Here you go. This is it.
That is really
Yeah.
nice. I think that is really helpful, and it's a really good insight actually in what is going on here. Thank you, Joram, for showing
My
us
pleasure.
that. And see you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.